Welcome to the Top Docs Podcast. Join us as we explore the latest advancements in healthcare with the leading healthcare providers across North America. And now for today's episode.
Hello, everybody. So, welcome to today's podcast. I'm Lori with Medical Marketing Wiz, and I have a very special guest today. Actually, we have Tony Orlando, and Tony is the founder of Dexa Plus. And I'm actually really excited to have Tony on because Tony and I actually have known each other for a little while, actually, kind of in my previous life when I was way back in pharmaceutical sales. And Tony was very big into using Dexa for bone density testing, and so we kind of got connected through that many moons ago. And then life comes full circle, and here we are. And Dexa is just completely exploded, and being used for so many things beyond just bone density. And so I was just so excited to have Tony be able to join us today and just tell us a little bit more about incorporating Dexa into an existing, whether it be a, wellness practice, a gynecology practice, a fitness related business, and kind of go through kind of the secrets to getting this in and making it successful. So Tony, I'll let you kind of fill us in on who you are, what you're all about, and what good stuff you have to share today.
Yeah, thank you, Lori. Very exciting times in the world of Dexa. I've been working with this amazing technology for the last 23 years, and there's really never been more interest or demand. A lot of that is being solved by education. There's a lot of external drivers that we've been seeing over the last few years. And really, Dexa has become recognized as one of the most important longevity markers that you can have. We can get the most accurate assessment of bone, muscle, and fat. And when we look at fat, we can even look at visceral fat, which is a high predictor of heart disease and type 2 diabetes. So it really has exploded. We've had a Netflix documentary that came out about 5 or 6 months ago, You Are What You Eat. And they did a twin study. They did DEXA scans before and after, putting two sets of identical twins, one on carnivore, one on vegan. And it really explained DEXA in a very meaningful way. DEXA is much different than what we see on the scale. It's different than a BMI index. A lot of those BMI index charts, they're just not useful, and they don't give really a clear picture of what's going on the inside. And that's what we really look at on the inside, from a health optimization standpoint. So we're starting to see a lot of movement between fitness and medical, and kind of those two worlds meshing together and really integrating DEXA for these really critical longevity markers, and then developing plans with nutrition, exercise, supplementation, where we can have lifelong tools to really produce great outcomes. One of the other big drivers, and we're going to see a lot of fall off from this, is that there's millions of people on these weight loss drugs. And the issue is the misuse. And often what happens is that somebody could lose 50 pounds of weight, and 30 or 40 pounds of that could be muscle. So what's happening is that individual is actually getting fat, or their body fat percentage is going up. And so even if we're neutral on those particular drugs, is that they should be integrated with DEXA before, during, and after any type of weight loss drug being prescribed. And then that has to be coupled with nutrition and exercise. And that's really our message. A lot of our providers preach that every day, is nutrition and exercise need to be integrated with anything you guys do, whether it's HRT, peptides, weight loss drugs, anything. Nutrition and exercise are the cornerstones to it. So DEXA is going to give us the most accurate measurement of our bone, muscle, and fat. We can look at every area of the body, see how much lean tissue we have by percentage, by pounds. So it really can be a life-changing event. For those of you that have never had a DEXA scan done, I highly encourage you to get your first DEXA scan. And regardless if the results are good or bad, it's your baseline, it's your starting point, and gives you an opportunity to make changes in your life that could help you live longer and help you live better.
Well, and it's funny. I think when you and I were talking previously about it, like for me, getting these numbers for myself, it's actually very motivating. So, like when I went through menopause, I did not understand why I was gaining a bunch of weight. And it turned out it was actually because I was losing muscle. So then, therefore, my baseline metabolic rate was much, much slower. And then also when I went on hormone therapy and I started lifting weights, of course, then the scale's going up and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And then you have a DEXA done and you're able to see, okay, Lori, hang on, right? You actually gained muscle, you lost fat. Now your basal metabolic rate is actually higher than it was before. And to me, it's very motivating. And then I go on a workout routine. I'm following a good diet. I get that done again. I can see those changes where I'm not just only looking at the scale. So, like, I think for me, the biggest wake up, when you and I got back together and kind of started talking about this was, in the old days, DEXA was, bone density. And of course, that's still super important, right? But that's not the only thing that DEXA can do. And I know, like, a lot of the docs, it was like, well, bone density, the reimbursement is going down and this and that. Well, now we're talking about cash services too. Like, how can you incorporate this into a more comprehensive package, a more comprehensive wellness package that gets people coming in on a regular basis to see the progress that they're making? So, yeah, so I'm excited to kind of learn more about some of the success stories. I know you're at
Yep.
one of your customers right now too, so we'll kind of get to see the inside of some of the real offices and kind of how they have this stuff set up.
We are, and we're over here at Gen H Longevity Center in Ada, Michigan, outside of Grand Rapids, and this is a preventive concierge medicine practice where he gets the focus on preventing disease, living longer, living optimally, and they're doing some amazing things. And their most critical tool to establish that baseline is the DEXA. So that's part of his regimen with all of his clients. So amazing information. And what happens, like we talk a lot about health optimization, we talk about body fat, we talk about muscle. One of the things that's been highly overlooked, and you know this because back in the day when we were working together and you were working with one of the big pharma companies, is the bone density part of it. And back then, going back close to 20 years now, reimbursement and availability for people to get a DEXA scan for their bone health was much more available. Part of the reason why, because reimbursement was so much higher. So now it's become a challenge for the small primary care doc or the small OB/GYN practice to integrate DEXA because of the reimbursement. So availability is very limited to individuals. The other big problem we have is in many cases, you have to be 65 years old or older to qualify for DEXA scan to measure your bone health. And we are solving that through prevention and through cash-based medicine. So we have a lot of women, unfortunately, right now, men and women, but specifically women in their 40s and 50s that already have osteoporosis, never been diagnosed or treated for it.
Yep. Yep. No, very good point. So why don't we get into the nuts and bolts of kind of what you have for us today?
Okay, awesome. So when it comes to DEXA, we're seeing this in different segments. And like I said, health and fitness and medical are starting to kind of mesh together. And really what doctors are seeing and many individuals seeing is that prevention is really the key. So instead of being diagnosed and treated for diseases and illnesses, we want to get in front of that. And DEXA provides us a very good inside look to potential health risks you have. So what we're seeing is DEXA is being integrated along with VO2 and RMR testing. So VO2 tells us our cardiovascular fitness level and tells us at what heart rates we're burning fat and heart rates we burn sugar. Peter Attia talks about VO2 max testing a lot. He feels it's one of the number one longevity markers that you can have. It's how long we're going to live and how optimally we're going to live. And then when it comes to RMR, that's our resting metabolic rate, it gives us a measured metabolism.
I
So that
had
can be,
that done. That's where you
yeah,
breathe into the little tube, right? Okay, I remember that.
exactly. It's an awesome test, but the key reason to get that done is your estimated metabolism based on your height and weight could be drastically different than your actual measured metabolism. It's almost like comparing a DEXA scan with your body composition to a BMI index. They can be drastically different. If somebody is 6 foot, 250 pounds, it could be a bodybuilder that's walking around at 6% body fat. on a BMI index, he's going to be considered obese.
Right.
Okay. So it gives us the real accurate information. And then what we do from there is we prescribe exercise and nutrition based on your resting metabolic rate, a measured rate. So it gives us a much better roadmap. And we're seeing this integrated. Like I said, there's gyms that are integrating Dexa, VO2, and RMR. There are medical facilities. So there's been a big movement. There's lots of demand. Our website, dexascan.com, connects consumers to providers all over the country where they can find a facility that offers these valuable scans, but also very solution based of what do we do after the scan? And that's really the $1 million question. Once we have this information, we might not like the information we get, but it gives us an opportunity to know we have a problem and then we need to solve it.
Perfect. Yeah. So maybe walk us through a little bit on the actual technology itself. Like, what does it look like to get one of these into the facility? Costs. Maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So in on average, a brand new DEXA machine, and we work with a company called Hologic. So here in the US, there's two manufacturers. There's GE, there's Hologic. They're both good, they're both accurate. We happen to work with Hologic. They're the global leader for women's health imaging, and they have the best technology we feel. They can do bigger people and do them much faster. And from a client experience standpoint, so what a client can expect when they go to get their first DEXA scan is, first of all, they can come completely clothed. We want to reduce the amount of metals. If you're wearing a pair of jeans, there's a zipper that's not going to interfere with the scan. You don't have to be fasted. You don't have to be hydrated or dehydrated. It really has minimal to no effect on the results. So if somebody comes in, they lay down on the table, which is right here, and on the Hologic, it takes about 5 minutes to do the scan. And from there, you're going to get all of your results. It's going to tell you your left arm compared to your right arm, your legs, your android, your gynoid, and it's going to even drill down to that visceral fat. And again, visceral fat is that hidden, toxic, dangerous fat. That is a predictor of heart disease and type 2 diabetes. So those are critical measurements. And then with our providers, what they do is once you get those results, they make recommendations of things you can do. Again, it starts with lifestyle. Nutrition and exercise are the foundation of everything you do. Supplementation, if you're somebody that's maybe older or middle-aged, and maybe hormones are something that can help you, IV therapy. So our providers are very solution focused. So it's a very easy scan to do. It does utilize X-ray technology, but it's very low dose radiation. So you can equate it to being maybe in the sun for 30 minutes or eating 3 or 4 bananas. So it's something that's not harmful to you. And we recommend that clients get their scan done every 3 months. So you get your DEXA, your VO2, your RMR, and then as your body changes, your results will change. And then we reprogram exercise and nutrition.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, how much would you say on average people charge for like, and I'm sure it's all over the gamut. So maybe the answer is, Lori, it's really, really variable, but I don't know if you could give us like a ballpark on,
I
if
can't.
I wanted to come in and get a Dexa, an RMR, and a VO2, like how much would that run me? And do people do them in packages, or maybe share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So on average, if you look at our website, dexascan.com, the majority of our providers charge anywhere from $99 to $199 for a DEXA scan. And that's going to give you bone, muscle, and fat. So it really depends on demographics. Different areas like New York City is typically going to be a little more expensive than Detroit. So anywhere from 99 to 199. If we look at VO2 and RMR testing, those tests are typically anywhere from around $100 to around $200 as well. So very similar price points. But if you come into a provider that's solution based, they're typically going to offer you a package, a program. The last thing you want to do is get one DEXA scan, especially if the results aren't good, and then don't do anything or never come back in again. So at the very minimum, even if you choose to do your own nutrition and exercise, do that all on your own, come in every 3 months to evaluate whether you're improving,
Yeah.
not improving, You made a very good point. Like when you look at the scale, if somebody gains 10 pounds of muscle and they lose 10 pounds of fat, the scale's exactly the same. They feel
Yeah.
like, oh, my pants are getting a little looser. I think I look better, but they don't know. The DEXA scan will quantify that for them and show that they made big improvements in their
I
body
just feel like
composition.
it's so much more motivating for me because like
Yeah.
imagine like working out for 3 months, eating salads instead of eating cheeseburgers, and then you go
Yeah.
on the scale and you're like, what the hell? Like I didn't even hardly lose any weight and I did all that effort. But then when you can look like for me, I think with mine, it was like I gained like 6 pounds of muscle and I lost 4 pounds of fat. Like that's pretty dang good. And whereas if
Absolutely.
I hadn't had that information, then I feel like, oh, well, to hell with it. I'm going back to the cheeseburgers because nothing's working here. So,
Exactly.
and then do
And
people normally like I would see this more as like a gateway for like you kind of said, I like how you say it's like the baseline to better health. Like you have this baseline, then that opens up the conversation for your weight loss package or your nutrition package or your hormone package. And then do they typically build in like the every 3 months like getting your repeat scan, or what do you see works best?
Absolutely. And what we're doing is we're creating a roadmap because a lot of times individuals, like you said, when they're trying to lose weight, they undereat. So that is not helping them. And if they do lose weight, they're losing weight the wrong way. Because if I lose more muscle than fat, my body fat percentage actually gets worse. And that's very common for that to happen. So
And that
if we're going to
happened
lose,
actually on that twin experiment on the
Mhm.
Netflix documentary. That happened to a couple of them.
Absolutely. So we're going to give you the right metric, the right measurement, and then give you a roadmap. And again, it's all about nutrition, exercise. Some people need more help. Most of our providers have customized programs. What they'll do is they'll put you on a program and you come in every 90 days, get your testing. And then what they'll do is they'll have either a registered dietitian or a nutritionist, somebody with that background that will rewrite your nutrition program. Because if I gain muscle and lose fat, my metabolism goes
Right.
up and my reward is I get to eat more. And people, it's counterintuitive for people to think that, gosh, if I eat more, I'm going to actually lose weight. And again, if we eat not enough, we're not getting the proper nutrients. Protein, everybody is pretty aware at this point, is that that's really key to building muscle. And we can't starve our bodies. We don't want to lose, weight the wrong way. And especially as we get older, as we get into our 50s, 60s, and 70s, as we start to give up muscle, and this is where we're going to see a lot of fallout from the weight loss drugs. There's going to be a lot of issues, long-term issues caused because of that. That is how we function. This is our longevity. And if I'm a 7-year-old guy and I'm losing, you're already in general, if you're not on top of doing resistance exercise, consuming protein, you're going to lose muscle every year. That's just going to speed that up.
Mm.
So it's very, very detrimental. We need to see what's going on inside. And again, like even if we stay neutral on weight loss drugs, I think that there can be a place where they can potentially help people. But again, if you just do that alone, you're trying to hit the magic button and you may lose weight, but you're going to look back on that and there's going to be some potential very bad long-term health risks associated with that.
Interesting. Interesting. So just curious, kind of about the different types of practices that may bring this in. So you mentioned you're at a wellness center, there's the fitness folks, there's the
Mm.
gynecologist. Like, do you have like a profile of the perfect type of practice that this can be successful in?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we look at the two different categories of clients, and again, these two categories are coming together, you can look at medical and you can look at the fitness arena, and they're starting to mesh together. But what's been happening, being a doctor today is a lot harder than it was several years ago. We talk about insurance reimbursement. It's very challenging to make a good living with it. The other big challenge is probably more important. If you're a primary care physician, you might be seeing 50 patients a day. And there's a lot of conflict within that. I'm spending 6, 7 minutes with those patients. I'm really not getting to the root cause. I'm not being preventive. I'm diagnosing and treating disease. And most doctors, I think if you talk to them, they're very conflicted by that. And so that's where we see a lot of doctors go from traditional insurance based to prevention. So in that space, a lot of doctors are looking at least make steps in that direction. So it might be part insurance, part cash based. So that'll be your internal medicine, family practice, some cardiologists, orthopedic physicians is a growing market segment for that.
Hmm.
OBGYN. And then if we look at full concierge medicine, there's a lot of practices and this industry is growing a ton. Every year we go to these conferences and they get bigger and bigger. So they'll call it age management or functional or integrative medicine. And they're really starting to get a lot of growth. Some areas it's really prevalent. Places like Michigan, it's a little bit slower, but it's really starting to catch on. And then if we look at the other side of it, which is more fitness related, a lot of gyms, some big box gyms, boutique gyms, body comp companies like Dexa and Live Lean, and a lot of these businesses are really scaling and growing multiple locations. So we're really in a great spot. It's an established business model that's
Yeah.
getting a lot of notoriety. And we're not at the middle, we're not at the beginning, we're somewhere kind of in between. We're going to see a ton of growth over the next 5 to 10 years. And I think COVID really inspired that. People are starting to take their health and prevention a lot more serious than they did before.
Very true. Very true. I know even for myself, I've always considered myself health conscious, but I'm definitely even more so now. And I don't know, part of it's just going through menopause. It's like
Yep.
everything falls apart and you got to try to put it back together, But now in terms of staff for
Mhm.
this, because it is a, does have an X-ray component to it. Do the staff members, because I could see this, like one advantage of this is like, let's say it is a traditional medicine doctor, internal medicine. They've got to go to the hospital and do their rounds on a certain day. And this could be
Right.
being done in the office while they're off doing, like the doctor doesn't actually have to be the one to do this. But is there
Mhm.
any special like certifications or criteria? I don't know if it's maybe state dependent on who
Good.
can actually do the DEXA.
Yeah, and there are criterias and certifications. It absolutely varies state to state. Our company gets very involved to provide guidance, to kind of tell you what the regulations are per your state. We have a healthcare law firm that we've worked with for close to 20 years, so we can really help with that. But just in general, some states you have to be a radiological tech. There's only about 6 or 7 of those. Some states there's a limited license that's very prevalent, which you can typically take an online class and pass a state exam. And then other states like Michigan, where we're at, there's no certification required at all. Since it is a medical device, it does require medical oversight. But again, we're starting to put these into gyms and fitness facilities. They just have to have an arrangement with typically a MD, sometimes a chiropractor and NP can qualify, where there is an agreement that they're providing medical oversight. Those are all things we can provide guidance on.
Okay. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about your company specifically, because you're not the manufacturer of the device, but tell us a little bit about like all the different things that you guys do to kind of help this go from A to Z and really make successful.
Yeah. It's changed a lot over the years. Many years ago, we were just like most prototypical medical equipment companies. It was very transactional. You'd sell a piece of equipment, customer wanted another piece of equipment, you'd sell it to them. But what we've done, especially over the last few years, we've really gotten involved with training and then marketing. So on that side of it, like when we do training, we open up a facility in Fort Lauderdale. We do workshops. We just did one recently, which you attended, which was awesome. Building a Dexa-based business. So we provide all the tools, the guidance, the strategies, everything from explaining the results, creating a great client experience, how to build programs, memberships around Dexa so we can provide great outcomes, strong return on investment for the owner of the health optimization business. We talk about marketing, community outreach, really everything from A to Z. So that's something we're very proud of. That facility in Fort Lauderdale is only for training and workshops. We also have one coming up. We're doing regenerative medicine workshops, IV therapy. These are all recommendations we can make to our clients. And again, connect them with all the resources. And the other thing we do, we're very proud of, is with DexaScan.com, we connect consumer to providers all over the country. We are building a global footprint, so we can deliver client acquisition for no charge, and there is a revenue share directly to the provider. It's paid in the form of a scan fee, where we can actually deliver clients to your front door, plus paying on top of that. Once they show up at your facility, all transactions are between you and them. We just have done our part to get the client to show up at your facility. So it's really cool. We love what we're doing. We also just launched weightlossnearme.com. We're going to employ similar
Where-
strategies to DexaScan.com. It will be bigger than DexaScan.com at some point in 2025. And we feel that what we're starting to see is that consumers are going to be more particular about their weight loss solutions. You're going to hear more and more about the negative effects of just taking the drug and not doing all the other things with it. So everything we promote is going to be with lifestyle change. And we're going to promote providers that align with that vision. So weight loss near me, we know, again, another way to get clients to our providers. And we're really excited about that website.
Yeah, so I know we're going to do a separate little talk on kind of marketing and positioning yourself as that go-to DEXA practitioner. But one of the things just that you're noting about this, like Dexa near me, IV therapy near me, weight loss near me, in the marketing world, we talk a lot about the importance of having backlinks and being on these important directories. So it's a whole nother conversation that we'll have, but I think it's really, I think it's one of the things, honestly, Tony, that makes what you guys are doing at Dexa Plus very unique. Is it, because a lot of the manufacturers, it is just kind of like, all right, thanks for buying the device. Like, good luck. Here's a couple videos to watch, whereas like you guys have really built, again, kind of an A to Z business model. Okay, yes, we're going to hook you up with the equipment, but we're going to have you come down, bring your team, take a deep dive, network with other providers that are growing businesses just like yours. You guys also are well connected. So like at the one I was at, you guys had, the Liquivita folks there talking about IV therapy. So like I just feel like you guys are very well connected and are really a huge resource that people pay tens of thousands of dollars to be able to get some of the information that Tony and the team at Dexa Plus are offering for people that decide to, kind of want to grow a wellness-based practice. So kudos to you
Absolutely.
guys. Because again, I think it's
Thank
something
you. Yeah.
very unique, that more people hopefully will now be aware of, since we've taken a deeper dive into this topic. So anything else you want to go over today, Tony?
I, I was just gonna say it's just made what we do much more enjoyable to continue to build those relationships. We in some ways have brought business in a box to a lot of because we work with a lot of individuals that are starting brand new businesses. So bringing all these resources and components, including companies like yours that do phenomenal marketing. We do a lot of that internally, but for the ones that want that extra level of service, being able to connect them with providers like yourself and what you guys do. So we love it. Today we're visiting a new client. We do it a lot. Going to South Florida is kind of the hub of where all this is going on. So it's really been really enjoyable. So for us, being able to share and be truly part of the success instead of just selling a piece of equipment,
Yeah.
it's been game changer for us as well. So we're doing something, doing all these years and 20 some years providing Dexa, but to work in a completely different way than we did even 3 or 4 years ago, it's just been awesome for us too.
Yeah, well, we've always got to evolve. We've got to evolve our
Yep.
businesses and differentiate ourselves in ways that everybody else isn't thinking of. So, yeah, so kudos to you guys. Maybe tell us, how do people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about Dexa, RMR, VO2 Max, the trainings that you guys offer? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, just going through our website, dexascan.com. There's a form fill on there. You can contact us through dexascan.com. We have a full sales support team. We are on it, around the clock. So if you're interested in learning more about Dexa, we do these Zoom calls where we share all the information. I share the barriers to entry, the things that might prevent certain people from opening a Dexa-based business, but we talk about everything. And so there's no hidden surprises. If somebody gets excited about Dexa, we talk about the regulatory side of it, the requirements from a technician and medical oversight, and we really cover everything A to Z, typically in around a 30, 40-minute call. So we'd love to, show you everything that's going on, give you perspective. It's been an exciting time, like it really is. The business model continues to become proven more and more every day. And individuals, again, people are really more concerned with their health and living longer and living better than than in history. So,
Yeah.
just a fun time to be in this business.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so yes, everybody, dexascan.com. We've got Tony here from the headquarters of one of his clients. And again, really, really happy to have you on. And so the next step is we're also going to do another webinar that's going to be kind of step 2 of this, which is, all right, you've decided to bring some of this in. How do you really get people to find you and choose you? So we'll take another session to talk a little bit about some marketing tactics. And again, thank you so much, Tony, for joining us. And look forward to hearing about many more successes.
Yeah, thank you, Lori. I truly enjoyed it.
All right, take care. Bye bye.
Okay, bye-bye.